Hello everyone, welcome. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. So we're just going to wait for a little bit to let people come in and just make sure that everything is up and live on all of our social media. So just bear with us. This is an exciting morning or evening, wherever you're coming in from. Just making sure that everything is live. It looks all good. Fantastic. So let's just wait for a little bit while people jump on. We're excited today because we are going to be talking about the Substrate Developer Programme, which is being launched on the 30th of November. So this is I suppose, a touch point on what that looks like, the what, the why, the how, and who is behind all of this, all the Substrate Developer Programme. So we're really excited to be able to have Bryan Chen with us today. Now, Bryan is the co-founder of Acala and Laminar. He's also an ambassador of Polkadot, and also he's a core contributor to Substrate and Polkadot. He's also he's a creator of this incredible Substrate Developer Programme. So we are very excited to have you with us here today, Bryan. Thank you so much for taking the time to just have a chat to us about what this looks like. Like I said, the why, the what, the how, and who is behind all of this. So welcome and thank you for joining us.
Yes, thanks for the intro.
Wonderful. So what we've also got, everyone, we've got Shannon and Justin from MVP Studio. Now, they are utilizing Substrate at this time to actually build a project. So that we're going to hear a little bit later on from them as to what they're doing and how they're utilizing that. So that'll give a little bit of insight into the utilization of Substrate. All good. So I'm going to hand it over to Bryan to just kick it off and go for it, Bryan, about exactly what the Substrate Developer Programme is all about.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks, Clara, for the intro. So I guess let's start with what is Substrate. So if you have not heard before, Substrate is a blockchain development framework. So allowed you to build your own blockchain. So before Substrate exists previously, if you're trying to do blockchain development, you'll probably finding a lot of things about, for example, smart contracts on Ethereum, writing Solidity, etc. So they are how previously blockchain development is being done. But there are a lot of limitations on those methods. Like, for example, if you deploy a smart contract on Ethereum, your user will have to pay the transaction fee with ease, and it's also competing with every other Ethereum project for the gas fee. So, for example, the gas price on Ethereum in 2 months ago is getting some crazy highs. It costs you like $50 for a single transaction, which is obviously a blocker for many people. So that's why people start looking for a new solution, and that's one of the reasons why the co-founder of Ethereum, Gavin Wood, is start building on the Polkadot, which is so Gavin Wood is also the founder of Parity Technology. The CTO, previously CTO of Ethereum. So he built Ethereum and he found out there are some limitations with Ethereum. He thinks this is probably not good enough. So that's one of the reasons why he started building the Polkadot, and also which is built by the builder with the Substrate itself. So in short, Substrate is a framework to build your own blockchain. It's much more flexible. Everything is customizable, but it's at the same time it allows you to deploy your own blockchain in 20 minutes. So that's actually a real demo of Gavin Wood in, I think, 2 years ago in a Web3 Summit conference. He get a brand new MacBook, install everything software, and build a new blockchain on the stage in probably less than an hour. That including time to set up the computer, to download all the tools and do the compiling. So yeah, this is how easy you can build a blockchain with Substrate. So another benefit of Substrate is it's actually builds your own blockchain. So unlike if you're just writing smart contracts and deploy them on Ethereum or other blockchain platforms, you won't be limited by anything basically. So for example, if you're writing smart contract on Ethereum, your user will need to pay ETH as a gas fee. So if you deploy your own token, they cannot use your token as a transaction fee. Your users still have to pay ETH as the gas fee. This is not the issue on Substrate anymore. So you can be so flexible. You could even make your blockchain a transaction fee-less blockchain. So there are no fees involved when making transition. But obviously, you need to have some mechanism to make sure people cannot attack your network just by spamming the transactions. But it's all up to you. Like it is actually possible to implement that. So there are no limits on using Substrate. And I think that's basically how, like, why do we want to learn Substrate and what is Substrate part. So Substrate is built by the Parity technology. So Parity, they have previously built a lot of different blockchain frameworks if you're not aware of that. So for example, they have built the Parity Ethereum, which is currently now called Open Ethereum. So that is the second commonly used Ethereum client out there. The first one is the GES from the Ethereum team itself. So Parity also have built the Bitcoin nodes. They have built the Zcash node. So they have built like multiple blockchain nodes before. So obviously they have all the abilities, all the technical knowledge to build a new blockchain, because I think they are few of the team that have built a multiple blockchain nodes implementation. So they are really experienced on building blockchain nodes, and they know what are the difference between those nodes, and they know how to build a generalized blockchain building framework that can truly support all different possibilities. So for example, Ethereum is just a smart contract platform. Bitcoin is a UTXO blockchain, unspent output transaction. So they are fundamentally different things, but they all can be implemented with Substrate. So you won't be limited by the blockchain platform itself. Like you can build a UTXO chain if you want to. You can build an account-based smart contract blockchain. They all are possible with Substrate.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, it was really interesting because I was actually talking to Justin and Shannon on Friday about the possibilities, of utilizing Substrate in varying kind of ways. So it was a really good conversation that we were actually kind of like diving into, and what basically what could the world actually look like utilizing Substrate, in business, everything. There's so many ways in which you could actually utilize Substrate to build things now. So yeah, it was a great conversation. I'm not technical, everyone. I know I've said that before. I'm not technical, but to actually grab something as a non-technical and see a possibility and the enormity of what could possibly be developed is really quite exciting. So thank you so much, Bryan, for that overview of everything. Now, like I said, everyone, we are launching the Substrate Developer Program on the 30th of November. So if you're interested in the program, I'll put a link in this post. You can jump over there. There are a few kind of like must-haves to be able to be part of the Substrate Developer Program. But I'll put that in this live in the comments and also in the post afterwards. Okay. So just moving on, like I said, everyone, we've got Shannon and Justin from MVP Studio, and they have been utilizing Substrate to build one or two projects. I think it's one, but they can just tell you. So Shannon and Justin, who would like to go first and just share a little bit about how you're utilizing Substrate?
Sure, thanks. Acala. Yeah, thanks for inviting me here. So yeah, maybe we can share us a little bit about how we're utilizing Substrate at the moment into one of the I think the top priority projects that we're doing at the moment is the Bit Country. Yeah, so a little bit background before we move into Substrate. I think MVP Studio we start involving into the blockchain since 2018. Since that we I think the ultimate solution at that time was Ethereum. So we're using the Ethereum to build all sort of like a block smart contract logics for the Bit Country. So but yeah, I mean during the time like we're doing development, we find a lot of limitations, like we can't really do everything that we wanted to do. Plus, as Bryan mentions, like transaction fees become more and more expensive. I mean, at that time, it still is like $20, per transaction. So, for example, if we train for something worth about like $5, but we pay like $20 to $25 or worth of transaction fee, which is not really scalable. We've been looking into all sort of different solutions since we're thinking about we need to build our custom blockchains, but that's involve a lot of technical knowledge on top of that. So yeah, and then I think it's around like early in February, in March this year that we found Substrate and from Variety Technologies. The more like we look into it, I think wow, this is amazing. It's come up with a lot of customizations. It's freely opens that we can build whatever the logics that we want. We can build our custom blockchain. We can include even like Ethereum's environments in directly into our blockchain. So yeah, and then we start moving into Substrate by learning all sort of different things and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean we felt I mean at the time that we started we wish that there was there's some courses like this like the Substrate Developer program like this that we can learn more on a proper way. We learned all sort of like every here and there's all sort of from documentations and API without any like the proper training. But yeah, I think this is a really great opportunity for everyone that want to involve in the Substrate. We believe that there's gonna huge opportunity and yeah, there's a lot of possibility that everybody can create utilizing Substrate and stuff. Yeah, I mean directly into the Bit Country, as I mentioned. We using we create our own blockchain, setting up our transactions structure. Like we can decide which kind of transactions or functions or method that how much gas fee or transaction fee that we want to use. So it creates a lot of competitions for us, like really great position for us in the market. I mean in the details of how we implement it, I think I can pass that to Shannon, especially around the innovative way that how we implement like Substrate into the Bit Country. Yeah, maybe Shannon, are you able to give some a quick overview of how we actually doing that?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that, Justin. Yeah, so kind of what's already been touched on a little bit by Justin and by Bryan and things like that as well about some of the benefits with Substrate and such. We really wanted to have a bit more flexibility in terms of what was going on and being able to customize how fees work in terms of how many different things work. And in particular, we were quite interested in, of course, the smart contract part that they have already developed and already ready to use in terms of what it allows you to do. So it gives us definitely that platform, kind of similar to how we had in the old days with Ethereum, but of course much more control in being able to allow the community to create their own experiences. But now we have the ability to choose how we want that necessarily to work. So some of the parts that we really felt were beneficial with the smart contract palette were things like rental, how it's already built into that palette to enable the when people are deploying smart contracts, it isn't just like set it up and forget it and just leave it there forever, taking up space and so on. They need to basically put the fees in and be able to pay for the upkeep of that smart contract, of that storage and everything that's using. So similar to how transactions have fees and things to make sure that it isn't abused or takes advantage of the network and things like that, we can help to kind of control the growth and such by having this rental on the smart contracts and how they interact with. So that was one of the things that we really felt was quite useful. And then otherwise, it's still just the other parts, being able to control fees, being able to have the ability that if we wanted to set up a feature, we actually had a way of going about doing that, either by the already very customizable palettes that exist or by implementing our own palettes. So, of course, we had a few different ideas without necessarily going into too much detail about how maybe fees could be done in a different way, how maybe in certain situations the fees might be dropped or changed in some way. So we really felt like it gave us a lot of that control that we were after, and we were always hoping to have that with Ethereum. But now with Substrate, we can achieve these things. We can have all these different ways of achieving this. And even, I guess, briefly touching on kind of like custom palettes and such. Again, having so much power, so much control on being able to implement different things that could completely change the way that the blockchain works, completely change how transactions and everything else works. So we really felt like that was super useful, and one of the key things that brought our attention to Substrate, and also how easily it integrates later on with Polkadot, and integrates with this ability to interact with other blockchains, interact with assets and everything else from other blockchains. So that was kind of the core reason that we were looking at. So Justin, saying you spent quite a bit of time architecting and creating a lot of the work there that we have so far for BitCountry in terms of the palettes and such. Would you like to maybe share a little bit more about kind of some of the work that you've been doing there?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Shannon. Yeah. I mean, in terms of like using blockchain to to design some of like the key features for the BitCountry. I mean, obviously that as Bryan has mentioned about like how flexibility it is. Yeah. I mean, for us is most all of the key components that we use in the BitCountry that we're using. We build like a native blockchain, for ourselves. But yeah, I think, well, I mean, it depends on how much details that we want to go in terms of the technical, but I think it's more like, I will give that a little bit more about the things, but technically that's whatever we do. I think I've been looking into like the program outline from Bryan. He putting into all together for the people to learn, to be master of the Substrate. I think that's amazing. Like, so this is all the knowledge that we're using it at this stage to build the product, from scratch. Of course, there's a lot of efforts that builder need to put the time on. But yeah, I think there's quite key features like how we can use Substrate to communicate with other blockchain when when it becomes like a parachain. So that's this is really amazing that we're not going to be isolated ourselves into our our own environments, but we have the ability to to transfer the message or to talk to any other blockchains inside the ecosystems. So that's one of the the things that I felt is really beneficial to our BitCountry team. But yeah, I think how we build it, so how we use that, I think probably I can pass that to Bryan's that he can discuss, sharing a little bit more about like the Substrate's program outlines in detail, like what people can learn there, as as well as some of like the key benefits that how they learn. Yeah, so I think once you're getting all information about the program outlines and how to use them, I think that's going to be really awesome. All right, so maybe either to use or to Acala, Bryan, are you able to share maybe briefly a little bit about what other people they will learn or the program outlines of the Substrate Academy program? Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. Thanks, Justin.
Go for it, Bryan.
Yep. So first thing, Substrate is still a very new blockchain development framework. So the 2.0 version just released few weeks ago, or probably 1 month ago. So it's still very new, it's still in development. So there are still like constantly still new features being developed and changed. So that's one of the reasons why many people found struggling learning Substrate, just because a lot of resources that are either outdated or they just the best practice have been changed because a new feature is being introduced. So there's a lot of like moving parts with Substrate. So a lot of people find it is very helpful if you have someone knowledge about all the latest features, best practice, how to do things, etc., to help them to answer the question, like to diagnose all the bizarre issues with like everything. So for example, previously there's Rust by so Substrate, first thing, Substrate is built with Rust. So Rust is a newer-ish programming language. Is still being developed, and still Substrate is using some lightning features or the like pre-release features of Rust. So this is the nightly version. So people are so you need to use the nightly version to build some parts of the Substrate. So the one problem is nightly version is constantly changing. It's being released every night, hence the name nightly. So from time to time, there are some breaking change or actually just bugs in the nightly version that breaks Substrate or some dependency of Substrate. So as a newcomer to the scene, it will be pretty hard to just install the latest nightly version and compile and it doesn't work. Then what do I do? A lot of people found us struggling. So that's one of the reasons why if you have access to someone have all experience with those things, they will be able to help you say, hey, maybe just try a different version. Maybe you just need to downgrade your Rust version, etc. That will actually solve this problem. So in terms of this particular course, so there are a few prerequisites. So that you need to be, for example, we're expecting you to be already an experienced developer. You need to know how to program, obviously. This is not like how to program 101. You need to have basic knowledge of the developing programming languages. So everything is done by Rust. I don't expect you to be a Rust expert because that itself is not that easy. And Rust, again, is a new-ish language, so I don't expect we'll have too many experienced Rust developers out there. But that's fine. You can. There are a lot of like official resource in terms of learning Rust. You don't need to become a Rust expert to learn this. I would just expect you to at least be able to read the Rust code so you can actually understand what's going on and write some basic Rust code. And all the advanced concepts, etc., will be taught in the course itself. So I expect you to have some basic understanding of the blockchain itself. So you know, like for example, the private key, the public key, how to send a transaction, etc. There's just some basic knowledge that you know why a transaction fee is required in a blockchain. Because, for example, without a fee, people can just spend the network without cost. They will be obviously be bad for the network itself. So those are just basic knowledge. Will be like very helpful, so you can understand some architecture decision of Substrate. So in terms of the course itself, it will be like the 6 weeks course with 8 different lectures. So they are online lectures, so you don't need to. So no matter what time zone it is, you don't need to watch them live. You can just when you have free time, you just download lecture and watch them. So each lecture is like roughly an hour long-ish video. We come with assignment, so I will expect you to complete the assignment. And obviously, if any helps, like any troubles, we have tutors available to help. So where we have like shared channels, you can ask questions and asking for help. So after that, we will have a graduation project, a final project. So you'll be teamed up with other people to build a project of your own. So obviously, we will help you like to provide some ideas what you should be working on, or if you or if you have basically if you had any help, if you need any help, like we are here to help. Yeah, so after graduation projects, obviously we will mark all assignments, mark graduation projects, and you'll be, if you have everything passed, we also have a workshop and office hours. So every week we will have a workshop, a live workshop, but obviously everything will be recorded. So if you can watch it live, you can just watch the recording. So the workshop will be taught by tutors. So we have some very good tutors. They are so few of them are from party. So they are the people who building Substrate. So obviously they have the most say about the Substrate itself. We have tutors from Lambda. So Lambda is also building Substrate blockchains. One of the very few teams that start using Substrate since 2018. So one of the few people have most experience with them. So they have some like insights and thoughts about how also user side of Substrate. Yeah, so after if you complete all assignments, video lectures, final projects, workshops, you'll be receive the certificate from this program. So to show you have completed this course as an endorsement for your study result.
Fantastic. That is awesome. I'm really excited about the whole thing, Bryan, and just how big it is. It's just so incredible to be part of something so, I don't know, I would just call it just like world changing, really, you know, and being able to do so much and to be part of it is just really exciting for Industry Connect and the whole team. So thank you so much, Bryan, for sharing, you know, the ins and outs, all about the Substrate program. And everyone, we are going to have our first intake for the program on the 30th of November. Now, you also are part of the whole community, okay? So just so that you realize that it's more than just the program, you are also going to be part of the community. It's a lifetime membership to the community with mentors that are part of it as well, and to be able to connect with it. So the whole community is a community support. You get to interact with the mentors and fellow students and alumni through Discord as well, okay? So it's very, very exciting to be launching this on the 30th of November. Now, just so you know as well, for this special launch, we have a special fee, okay? So normally the fee is, and I'm just trying to remember this, normally the fee is, I think it's like $895 or $985, sorry. But for this launch price, it's only going to be $492. Now that's in US dollars, so it's only $492 USD. So I would say jump on it, everyone, for the special launch fee as well, because you are going to be just at such a level going through this program. And like Bryan said, there's going to be a certification as well. There's assignments. So it's not just watching things. There are assignments. So you're going to dig into this really deep and you'll come out with something that is incredible. So thank you so much again, Bryan, for sharing. Thank you, Shannon and Justin, for actually letting us into your BitCountry project. And like everyone, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments. I've put in the comments as well the link to the Substrate Runtime Developer Academy, which is at the bottom. You can register on the form there. Any questions, like I said, please feel free to comment, and then we'll definitely get back to you and touch base and have a chat about that. So thanks everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Bryan, Shannon, Justin, have a wonderful day, and we're looking forward to everything launching on the 30th of November. Thanks everyone.
Okay.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Awesome. Acala. See everyone. Bye-bye.